everyone has their own path to go by. Like, not we're all going through like different stages of our life. We don't all have the same like financial means. We don't have the, we all come from like different places and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I always think about.
As a Christian, when you have like when you place yourself goals or like certain things that you want to do, you always have to ask God for the guidance. And if the door opens for you, then it's meant for you.
You're always going to need constant reaffirmation when you're aiming just to fulfill the moment. Because sometimes we read scripture just to fulfill what's going on in our life. Sometimes we read scripture just to be, I'm not feeling good. Or when I told you guys, I was like, I'm fat, I have no worth. Like, this makes me like ugly. No one's gonna ever love me. And I would read verses just to fulfill that moment. But I wouldn't see truly who we are as humans.
If you don't know God, you'll see this problem, but you won't know the solution. Like, you see like self-esteem, and you'll see like all these issues that you're going through, and you won't know the solution. You won't know that God is there, and He's the answer to all your problems.
I don't know if it's like a weird story, but this morning, I don't know if your beds have like a header.
Just thinking about this already.
Yeah. Well, that's also another reason why I laughed when we were praying, because I was like, what are you going to tell him? My bed doesn't have a header, so my pillows are just like against the wall. And I was like laying down this morning, and my alarm went off, and I was like, oh, I'm late. And because I don't have a header, I was just going to move. Like, in my head, I was just moving, like in my bed to get more comfortable and turn off the alarm. But instead I went, oh, and I hit my head, and I just remember go, ow, that hurts. And then I was like, man, why didn't I have a header here? I was like, why am I sleeping like this? I was just like sleeping again.
She's like, what does my neck hurt?
That just reminds me of the TikToks that I was talking about.
I was
Like my head hit the wall.
Ew, my laugh.
Okay, I'm really hot.
I'm sorry, guys. We're like,
now.
we had a really good laugh, and we're like
if you
sweating.
See sweating is because the lights here are very strong.
Okay, so we're excited to be back, and we have a new podcast member.
Are you guys ready? Drum roll.
And it's Jesse!
Jesse! Hey, welcome.
How are you guys this morning?
Good.
It's a little hot.
Alive, breathing.
Live.
We were just
Barely breathing, but how do you feel to be here?
I feel great. Thank you guys for having me here.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for the
Special guest.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
the gong.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
that's free promotion.
You
The
guys
tea.
ready?
Gongcha.
Oh, wait, what do you call these?
Chibolas?
Oh,
Oh yeah, because Jesse texted us last night. No, it was you. And you were like, hey, what do you guys want? And I was like, can I have the oolong tea with the chibolas?
Las chibolas negras.
And then Jesse was like, tell them it's either.
Or chata or what is it? Agua de Jamaica?
Agua de Jamaica.
I was like, they have horchata?
I know, when
yeah,
you texted that, I was like, bruh. I was like, you reach and you.
No, but I was
It
thinking
because
about kung
I was like,
fu.
horchata seems.
I've never had gongcha.
Okay, so we all got
Can't
like
even say
new
it.
drinks, right? Did you get? Is that a new drink for you?
Yeah, it's a new one.
Okay, I've never tried this one.
Yep.
So let's see. Let's all taste it at the same
Well,
time.
tell
never
them what
tried
you
this
got
one either.
first.
I got the matcha milk with milk foam. I think that's
Interesting.
I got passion fruit. Yeah, go ahead. I thought we were going around the second.
You're like, oolong.
Go ahead.
I got oolong. I got passion fruit green tea.
Oh.
I'm dropping it. Excuse me, they didn't seal it good.
Excuse me. It wasn't them. It was you.
No, it's coming from like the side.
Okay, what is yours?
Oh. Do we have like?
Well,
a
we
little
both got the same thing, right?
Clean it up with that.
We got
Yeah.
oolong milk tea.
napkin? Or how Jesse said.
I was joking.
That
Like,
kind of.
that's not gonna work.
What did you get, Elsie?
Oh, the oolong.
You got the same thing, right?
Yeah, we got the same thing.
Got it for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
The oolong. I just like how that sounds. What is oolong?
I don't know. I asked them the same thing when we were ordering.
Milk?
You ordered it first, right?
I have no idea what it is. I just like it. But I know it's like, it's tea.
We got it.
She just tea out I'm gonna see the hair.
Let's try it. Let's try it.
One.
I was kind of
Ready?
We
Three,
choke.
go.
Zoom into Andrew's face. Because she got matcha.
Ya me manché.
That's so good.
kind of tastes like seaweed. Yeah, it made my eyes watering.
I said, Andrew got matcha. And then Jesse was like, me manche.
Yeah.
Hey, you
Yeah.
have one job.
Like, Yamila, they didn't do it right.
I'm telling you.
It's okay. Maybe the foam would have made it better. But it's long.
Oh, maybe because it's at the bottom.
Is that a mosca?
Stop.
Who let the mosca in here?
She just went like that. A mosca.
The mosca's like, I didn't do anything.
Just pray for the mosca. Okay, yeah. Let's control ourselves.
You guys ready to start?
Well, first of all, welcome back to Resplandece podcast, y'all. We have MJ dying over there.
Yeah, it tastes a little weird. Okay, but you can go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just saying, like, welcome back to everyone to our Resplandece podcast. This is our third topic.
Yeah,
This is like,
third
I don't know,
topic.
I'm
No,
new.
is there a fourth?
I don't know. I just got here.
The second one was cut in two parts.
No, but they recorded why do bad things.
Oh, wait, you're right. Stop
Why do
joking.
bad
I'm
things.
sorry. Yeah, wait, she's right. It's the fourth
It's the
one.
fourth one.
Dang, our fourth one?
Yeah. It feels like
That's my favorite numbers.
4.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
She's like 4. Well, I'm so excited to be here. And again, welcome to Jessie for being here with us. And I feel like we have a really, really good topic today. Like a really good topic. Who wants to say what the topic is?
I guess start it off. Topic is self-esteem. Ooh, yeah. You guys ready?
All right, let me walk.
All right.
A little bit.
Got a game to start off with. Why don't you guys tell me, what do you guys see here?
A girl with a wig.
I see a girl, too. But I
see
think
a
that's
girl.
a feather.
She's
and,
like,
like something on her head.
Feather on her head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn it like this.
A rock.
Oh, wait, hold on.
A girl
Wait.
like this.
Is that an eye? Is that a nose? It's una viejita. Right? You see?
Jesse looking at the other side like, I'm not
Wait,
sure what
I
I'm
don't
Do you
know.
guys see it?
No.
Really? Dang, I'm better than you guys.
I saw a
What do you guys
rock.
see here?
She got an
A
upgrade.
face.
A face, a woman.
Okay.
What? I
Oh,
see
wait,
a
wait.
guy con una trompeta.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
The
say
trumpet.
too. I was like, I see the face, and then I also see the guy with the.
I don't see the face.
Oh, you
though.
see, that's her
That was like
nose.
a bird.
Looks like an airplane coming at him.
You don't see the face?
An
that's the
airplane?
eye?
Wait, I see it now. That's crazy. Yeah, I see it now.
Wow.
What do you guys
She
see
punched the
here?
mosca too hard. A duck.
I see a duck.
Yeah.
Anybody see a rabbit?
Oh, yeah, facing that way.
Wait.
I see it now.
Why did Jesse just look that way?
I feel like my eyes just crossed, so then I saw the rabbit.
Yeah, I don't see the rabbit.
But
You don't see the rabbit?
Dang,
All right,
wait.
these are the ears, and then
The eye.
Wait, I see it. I see it now.
you see it now.
I see it.
And she said she was better.
I am.
All right, last one.
A
What do you guys
whale.
see here?
Ooh, wait, there's too many things going on there.
I see a guy surfing on a whale.
On a whale.
Which one do you guys see
Inside a
first?
whale.
I saw both.
I saw the whale.
Okay, excuse me. You guys saw the whale first before you guys saw the surfer? So we all see different things. It's the way we view things, and it's just like, let's say like for the bunny, some of us saw the bunny, some of us saw the. Do you guys say it was a duck? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all see different things. We can kind of relate it to how we see ourselves. We all see something different in ourselves, and the way we view ourselves, it's just different. So that's basically the topic that we're gonna talk about today. It's self-esteem, of how do we view ourselves. Do we have like a high self-worth of us? Do we see ourselves like some people, like, I guess they see themselves as perfect. Do we see ourselves as perfect, or do we see ourselves as like maybe worthless, or we don't see
Better
ourselves?
than-
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good example.
Yeah.
I don't have high self-esteem. Let me tell y'all that right now.
So let's backtrack a little.
Let's back it. Let's
Hold
back it
up.
up. Let's back it up.
So yeah, we all see different things. So that's gonna be our first thing that we talk about. And I don't know if one of you guys could share, like, how do you guys see yourself? Maybe one person share how you see.
I think our faces say it all. It's like, no.
I can relate it so sort of to how I saw myself like in high school. I feel like, cause I think when I was in high school, I had really that junk was like flying around somewhere. I was like, I had really low self-esteem. I think because especially because I had a lot of acne going on, like all over my face. It was always like, of course, I cared about it, but I also cared about how other people saw me. Cause I mean, you can't hide a pimple. Like if you look at me. Don't look like this.
Have you seen those things with like bedazzled people? Like,
No need to.
no, MJ shows up to school. Bedazzled.
Oh,
like,
no.
don't mind me.
No, and like I care. Obviously, at that point, when I was in high school, I cared so much about how other people view my, because I couldn't hide my face. And I remember specifically one time, I'll never forget. Like, I'm 23, I will never forget that moment. This one guy, we were in, the computer class, and then he was like, we were pretty cool friends, and we were just talking. I don't know what we were talking about. And then he was like, you're pretty, but you would be even more pretty if you would be even more pretty if you didn't have acne. And I was like,
Oh no.
I've been like, excuse.
that was literally me.
Just getting violence in that bitch.
Yeah. So that's how I felt in high school. Obviously, now I don't really care anymore.
But at the time, it hit you pretty hard, right?
Yeah, it hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I laughed it off, but when I got home, I was like,
Yeah, I think the same thing would happen to me too, because until this day I still suffer with acne. But I think one of the things, little kids will make me feel so like, they'll be like, "What's that on your face?" Yeah. But I feel like
Just wait.
I used to say that.
and it really gets to you, because especially when you see others, whether it's in person or social media, you're like, dang, I wish I had like their clear face or something, and it really affects you. Yeah, I could really relate to that too.
Oh, because Jesse was like one person. I was like, I'll listen to you. No, I think it's interesting. One thing that you said where they told you like, oh, you would be pretty if you didn't have this thing. I don't know if you also ever got that, or you
Something like that.
like something similar. So I've always been like a bigger person. So I remember also in high school, getting this guy would be like, you would actually be really cool today, but you're fat. And I was like, oh, you're ugly. No, I was just like, damn. I was like, and then I like put my whole worth in that. Like, oh, you're big, so you're not worth anything. No one will ever like you. And I remember laughing it off, like Andre said, laughing it off, going home. Even now, when I think of it, it's kind of like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people still view that, even now as an adult. A lot of people put your worth in. A lot of people. Sorry. A lot of people put. Now I'm Diego from the episode. A lot of people put your worth, like in the way you look and things like, or like things that in the end, like the way you look, does not determine like, are you supportive? Are you kind? Are you someone who's going to help someone get closer to God? Someone who's going to help you in school? Like, you might, those things do not determine these other valuable things that we have, like, as humans. So when you said that, I was like, she just did.
Yeah,
I was like, she just touched a little thing.
You never, they stick with you. Like I'm 23 now, and I still think about it. I'm like, bruh, he really said that to me. Like,
Yeah.
he was ugly too. Like, he really said that. Like,
What do you guys think about like potential? It's like, what do you guys see like if I have the potential, become successful? Well, what about in high school? Did you guys see yourself as a bitty? I don't know, we all have dreams. I mean, we've all been to school and college, so most of everybody in our class, has dreams or has a goal to achieve. When you were in high school, it was a bit different. Nobody really knew what they wanted to do, but you most people knew they wanted to do something in life. Do you think you guys had like a high, I guess, expectation out of yourselves, or was it pretty low?
Definitely. I remember, yeah, in high school, first of all, I feel like that's a period where you're just really all over the place. Like, you're just doubting so much about you, and like you overthink so much, especially when you're like about to transition from high school to college. For me, I remember specifically, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to university over there, over here, blah blah blah, and I'm like, I'm going to Montgomery College. Now Montgomery College is like a great option, but for me at the time, I was like, I felt like it was low for me. You know, I don't know if you guys ever had like that. And it was to the point, like, I felt like I was not good enough. Like, going there with community college was just like I'm so low, like I'm not gonna go far in life. Like, all these people are going to like a whole 4-year school. And I really let that get to me, but the outcomes, of course, was different. I I feel like I made a great choice going to Montgomery College first, before transferring, but I feel like, yeah, that affects you a lot when you see others like having like these certain goals, or they're like gonna accomplish certain things, and then you feel like you can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like you can't really like relate to them, or you just can't really, I don't know. It's a really hard kind of like situation in high school.
Now she's in a master's program. Ooh.
Currently dying.
And getting her whole year paid for. Yeah. I think for me, honestly, it was the same thing when I was in, like, going into my, like, senior year. You know, when you're figuring out, like, the whole college process and everything, like, not being born here and, like, being a first-generation student, all those two things, like, mixed together. And, like, all my friends, they already had their license, they were working, and, like, obviously I couldn't do that. So that's when I started feeling like, dang, like, I'm not gonna make it far in life because I don't have papers, like, I wasn't born here. And that always stuck with me, and I would always compare my life to, like, my friends, because I was always like, bruh, y'all have everything, like, you know what I mean? And yeah, so at that point I feel like my potential, like, believing in myself, really kind of went down a lot. But I mean, I did it. Yeah.
I'm here. Oh,
Yeah.
like a little side tip for y'all. If because I related with some Jamila just said, if for some reason you are not getting like a scholarship, so full ride to a university, trust me, if you're in the area, Montgomery College is a good college.
Definitely.
And I remember comparing myself, because I also had the same thing, where, because I saw the kids that didn't do anything were going to MC, and then I was like, I'm gonna end up with them.
All on 2.0.
No. Oh yeah, I was like, I'm gonna end up with them. It works out, well, right? Whatever. But it's like there's like this like stigma, or like this, like, oh, you're going to community college. Trust me, it's a good stepping stone. And why have debt on 2 years that you can get at MC the same 2 years, even better quality than many universities. Yeah. So just a tip for you guys: if you're graduating and maybe there's financial issues or whatever it may be, Montgomery College is a good option. And trust me, you can get so many opportunities because you are not, the people that didn't do anything. You're not the 2.0, so you will get the most out of it. And they have a lot of opportunities, and for transferring as well, that can help you. So just saying.
So you think that's like something like pressure on societal standards in a way?
Yeah.
That we have these standards in life that we need to, fulfill. I'm not saying all societal standards are bad. I think some of them are like, based on some good things, like, hey, yeah, you should go to elementary school, you should go to middle school, high school. And, if it's in the right plan, it's a good step is, go to college. And, yeah, you should take that path. Or, like, if, you're at a certain age and you're in a relationship, you feel comfortable with the right person, go ahead, get married. It's, societal standards that have been set up, and they're with the right mind and process. But I think there's a danger in whether we try to base our lives on those societal standards before we base our life on God and the plans that He has for us. I think one of the things I was thinking about was, let's say maybe you're 50, you're 50 years old, and you haven't been married yet, and you might see as like, life is going past by, and like, oh man, everybody's getting married, everybody has kids, and I don't have that. But let's say you accepted Christ when you were 15, and you've lived your whole life, just following God. You've served God, to the fullest potential that you feel like that you can. Obviously, nobody's perfect, and there's made mistakes, but you've done the best you can, and you don't have a reason to feel like, oh, I didn't meet these societal standards, because it's better to end up with the right person at age 50 than end up with the wrong person at age 20. It's like you'll end up getting divorced. It's but that's you with the mentality of trying to like achieve these societal standards instead of following,
And honestly, we're placing that like that whole self-doubt in ourselves, or like we're placing all of that anxiety and like pressure on our own lives, like like you said, like some societal stuff, like they're good, but we're allowing that to get to us too much. Even like right now, like us being like in our 20s, early 20s, it's like you expect, or you feel like you have to be married, have a house, have a whole career now,
be a millionaire,
Yeah.
have money,
Be a millionaire by 20,
and
23.
like, and one thing oh my god, my throat. One thing I really like that Jessie said is that if you're like 50, it's better to like find someone at that age instead of finding someone at a young age that's not going to work out with. Because I don't know, I feel like it's really hard. It's honestly really hard, because you want to always be at the level of everyone else. And now with social media makes it like 10 times worse for you, because I mean, obviously you want to like live life and do so many things, but when you see others doing it, like you're kind of like, dang, like I'm running out of time, but you're really not running out of time. Like you're basically just starting it, if you think about it.
Like I feel like, especially now that you mentioned social media, there's always like people that I went to high school with that they're like, we just got a house, we got married, we have 2 kids. Like, bro, I just graduated.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so I'm just like, dang, like they're my age and they already have like their whole freaking future built up. But at the same time, it's like, that's, I think it was something that I think I was thinking about earlier, that like everyone has their own path to go by. Like we're all going through like different stages of our life. We don't all have the same like financial means. We don't have we all come from like different places and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I always think about. But another thing that I was gonna say, like with social media, even the way that like if we even just talk about like filters, like there's a lot of comparison there.
They make you feel good though.
I'm not gonna lie. They do be making you feel good.
Yeah.
Something that you said, a lot of times we also only see one side of the coin, or one side of that cube, because it's not just, there's 2 faces to things. A lot of things are like 3-dimensional, have different services. And if you start comparing, you're only looking at one phase. So you don't see everything else. You only see one phase. And so it's important, like especially with the social media that you said, like the filters, those things are not they're not realistic. They might be realistic for someone, but they're not realistic as a whole. And you also have to see that those societal standards changes on your society as well, like where you live, what country you're from. Those things change. I don't know, the other day you were saying something about like your clothes your clothes size, like in one country is like you're like a small or something in one country, and then in another country you're like,
with the girl from I think it was Japan, and on TikTok, and she said like in Japan she's a size extra large, and then here she's a small. So I was like, whoa, so if I go over there
I don't exist.
for real.
You're gonna see me with the tree.
It's crazy because in a lot of cultures you see that too. And I can only imagine what like the expectations they also place for themselves because of the way they were raised or their culture in general. So it's a big thing, honestly.
And then I was gonna say something about I lost it. I was gonna say something about that like even now when you're like in high school, you're expected to do like this and that, and then when you're out of high school you're expected to go to college right away, and then you have to go for your master's, and then you have to get a freaking like 1,000, what's the number, 100,000, is that the right number? You don't even know what I'm talking about. Like the 100K, whatever number that is.
Oh, like a 6-figure job.
Yeah, that's what I was. There you go. Thank you. Dang, you got whole math like
Now he's like, yeah.
She's like, what's the number? I was like, oh,
I don't know, zeros.
Okay, but you know what I mean? There's like a whole bunch of societal standards. You're expected to do this. What Jesse was saying, this by this age, you have to do this and that. And like, now that when he was talking about that, I was too close to me. When he was talking about that, I was just like, you know, for me, when, you know, in high school, I was like, okay, I'm gonna graduate, then I'm gonna go to Montgomery College, and then I'm gonna go to UMBC, and then I'm gonna go to my master's program, blah 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 blah. And obviously, like, part of me wanted to do that, but then the other part of me is just like, that's what, which is good. I mean, it's good to get as many degrees as you want, but at the same time, it's like, you shouldn't have to if you don't want to. Like, if you really, if it's not in you, and I'm saying this because I mean, like, if it's not in you, you shouldn't go ahead and do it just because, for example, it's gonna look good, unless you really want to get that degree. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head.
yeah, I think what you mean is like, not, like I said, not reaching for those societal standards just because they're there. I think it's really basing your life on God. I don't think any of us really wanted to go to school. I think what you meant was like, you know, we felt like in our hearts that we had to, but we didn't. None of us really wanted to do those 4 years. I know I didn't want to do those 4 years, and I did not want to go to school. And you know, especially us. I think we all worked and went to school at the same time, which is even harder. And I know there's people who are like parents already, and then they're I know we've had friends that are parents already, and they went back to college, and you saw like the sacrifice they did. So I mean, it wasn't necessarily like, you know, they wanted to do those things, but they felt in their heart. And a lot of us, like, you know, we felt in our hearts, you know, that it was part of God's plan to go to school, get our education. And we've seen the benefits of those things. And like Andrew said, it might not be for everybody. Maybe it's not in God's plan for you to go to college. You know, I mean, let's say a missionary, if he doesn't go to college and he's, you know, age whatever 20, he gets up, packs his stuff, and he's like, you know, I feel like God's calling me to go do something, and he heads out. And it's like, well, he didn't go to college, but it doesn't make him any less.
Yeah,
that's a good example.
Mary also said something. She says, like, you're doing these things just to look good. A lot of times we're just like building resumes. We're just like if you're in high school, you know, I remember I'm gonna be in this club and this club and this club, and I'm gonna do this. And then when people would ask why, I'm like, because colleges are gonna see that, and that's like important. A lot of times we're just going for these superficial things, and you don't really like it. You just want to be accepted, or you're just worrying about, you know, those things. It's just, I wanted to point that out because it's important, like what he said, your route, and we have to be mindful that God's will, he has a will for our life. And you know, it's hard decision if we want to be like live according to that will, or
just feel everything.
I'm telling you,
we shouldn't get drinks, guys. It's okay, they didn't put it right.
Wait, I was gonna say something about what you said about
I thought the mosca was bad because she's like,
we need volunteers. Good for your resumes.
I don't think anything survives that.
No, I was gonna say something about what Jesse said about the missionary. Yeah, the missionary. That if you think about it, like, society will look down on that one person, like, dang, they'd probably be like, dang, he's 20 years old, didn't go to college, and instead he's being a missionary. Like, bro is throwing his whole life away. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way society will look at it. But if you're looking at it from like a Christian perspective, you're like, wow, like, he's 20 and he's doing this for God. Like, this, you know what I mean? So that's one thing that came to my head when Jesse was talking.
I think there's like a line between the way society sees us and the way society views self-esteem and the way a Christian views self-esteem. You guys agree that there's a clear line with that?
There's like a different, because like society is always pushing you have to have a high self-esteem, you have to be confident, you need to love yourself, pushing like this like extremity of you being like this, I don't know, God complex, like, I'm amazing, I have my life together, blah blah blah. And you're just like, this is not realistic. I did not have my life together.
Trying to make yourself believe that everything's fine. And that is so true though. Like, of course it's a good thing. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to say that, you know, like, to say, oh, I love myself, I'm beautiful, I'm this, those affirmations, because I mean they're not bad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you have to be realistic. I'm not calling anybody ugly, but I'm saying like you just have to be realistic in the fact that the society is really, really pushing for all of that, which is good. But at the same time, it's like,
and we end up doing things according to what society expects us to do, and we're not happy. You know, we're not happy. Yeah, and honestly, someone close to me has always told me something's wrong with my throat. I am so sorry. I know we were laughing before we started, but someone really close to me always told me and always reminds me that you always want to do what you feel comfortable in doing and what makes you also happy. You know, for me coming from like a Hispanic culture, like your parents are like school, you know, you have to get a degree, this and that. Now I went to school because of course I wanted to. Now I did graduate, and now that I decided to go to grad school, I made that decision for myself. Like I didn't have no one tell me you have to go to grad school. Like I decided on my own. Obviously with my degree I need to go to grad school for certain opportunities and stuff, but I made the decision and it's making me happy. And even though I'm like struggling and everything, but I made the choice for myself, and it makes me feel like I'm okay with it. Like I feel like I'm doing this for me, you know. And there's a difference with you doing it for yourself and then, you know, doing it too because I want these people to see like I'm in grad school, or I'm doing this thing because I want to please them, and I want them to say like, oh my goodness, did you see her? Did you hear what she's doing? No, I'm doing this for me. So in the long run, you know, when I'm older, I can be like, oh my goodness, like I did this for myself. Like I didn't do this because someone else or because society expected me to do this. I'm happy with what I did, and you know, it's just that's how I feel like it should be as well.
But it didn't happen like the noche. Like, I'm gonna go to, you know, get my master's. You know, you took a lot of thinking over. You know, a lot of praying. You know, you really thought it over before you took the final decision. Right?
As a Christian, definitely. As a Christian, when you have like when you place yourself goals or like certain things that you want to do, you always have to ask God for the guidance. And if the door opens for you, then it's meant for you. So yeah, of course I did pray a lot. Like I told God like, hey, I have this opportunity, I'm thinking about doing it. If it is for me, I'm gonna get into it. I don't know who's gonna pay for it, but somehow you're gonna provide. And in a blink of an eye, he provided. And every time I think about it, it makes me emotional because I'm like, God really answers your prayers, and I feel good with myself. Like it makes me feel happy that when you truly, genuinely place your prayer in God's hand, He opens the door. And again, I did this because I wanted it for myself, not because my parents were telling me, oh, you have to go get your master's now. Like you just finished this, now go get your master's. No, I did this because I wanted to, and it makes me feel good about it, you know. And again, God opened this door for me, and why not take it, you know?
There was something that when you said that, you know, it wasn't your parents telling you or things like that, or like because, oh, you want to have this degree, it made me think of like, you know, when us as human beings, we always want to please others. We want approval from society. Even as Christians, we seek approval from others. And we low-key want to be accepted by society too, but we have to remember that, you know, as us, I keep saying it wrong. Like us as Christians, sometimes society like that's just not gonna happen. Society is not always gonna accept us because we're different from them. We're not gonna do the things that they do. And another thing that I was gonna say is like, for just to kind of flip the other side from what she was saying, is like, so we were both doing social work. The bachelor's degree. On her side, she's like, I'm gonna go for it. This is what I want. You know, whatever. It wasn't her, like nothing like pushing her to go. And then on the other hand, for me, it was just like, should I get my degree because just to have it, just to please my family, just, you know, just because it looks good, even if I'm not gonna pursue like social work with my master's degree. So then that's when there was a lot of praying behind like my decision and everything, but eventually I decided not to go for my master's because I was just like, it's not what I want. Like I'm not gonna get another degree just because it's gonna make my parents happy. Like, I'm not gonna use it. Like, I don't want it. You know what I mean? I don't care about having
And
another.
you don't want to
selling
waste
it.
your time.
I'm gonna sell it. For my money
Sell,
back.
guys.
You honestly just don't want to waste your time on something that's not going to make you happy,
Yeah.
and you're not going to be in a good state of mind.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's just one thing that came to mind.
What about you?
Yeah, you need it.
Like
Yeah,
your
Jesse, you're just
perspective,
asking
'cause,
us
you
the
know-
questions.
Because how society as a man, you know, it's
Yeah.
like important.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are there like those standards? Did you ever struggle like trying to meet them, or like family wise?
Yeah, definitely. There's a standard, especially for guys. Especially provide. You know, if when you're gonna get married, you know, be able to provide for your family, and it's a huge pressure. I know it's not. The world doesn't see it as that structure. You know, they see it as the woman's supposed to carry her own weight or something like that. And whereas Christian view, I'm like I'm all for women like earning the same amount of money and everything like that. But at the same time, you gotta pull your own weight as a man too. You have to work hard and but I do see there are those societal standards that that put pressure on you. And like you said, like I was saying, you gotta reach those, you gotta do something, but you're not gonna do it on your own, like with your own strength. When you're Christian, you see it a different way. You're kind of alone when you're with the world. Like it's just you, it's just me against the world, and I gotta provide. But when you're a Christian, you're like, I didn't provide anything. I just put my life in the hands of God, and He gave me the job that I have. He gave me everything that I need.
Yes.
And like they put you like, I'm a man, I'm provide. He didn't provide anything. I was like, God, got it. He's the one ahead of you, and that's really like the difference. When you see your life as a man in a Christian sense, that you bring yourself down and you put God ahead. And the man it's in the world, it's like, I'm a man, get out of my way. It's I did everything, and that's like sort of the standards from my perspective, the way I see it.
How about, let's go a little deep for guys. How about with growing up with having to look a certain way as a guy? How did you handle that throughout high school and now that you're older?
Yeah, there's definitely like a standard for like all guys to some guys are fit, we all have different bodies, we all grow in different ways, and it's like trying to fit one person into a box that's been generalized. It's never gonna work. No matter how many times you put it. I'm not saying it's wrong to be fit. Like, yeah, go outside, do some exercise, but to say we're all gonna be the same height, we're all gonna grow up to be
6 feet.
it's
Like a rubber band.
you can't do it.
Yeah, no.
Come on.
Yeah, it's not possible. And it's funny because like you think about like if you want to think about the physical sense, a lot of our friends in high school, like in guys, they had like the fashion, like the shoes and everything.
Yeah.
I grew up in PG County, so the big thing was like Jordans.
Yeah.
Like as soon as they dropped, like go ahead and grab them.
Better go spend.
Yeah, so,
And then those dudes,
yeah.
do you have $1?
But I mean,
know that
a lot of guys, we were in high school. A lot of those guys didn't have jobs when they were freshmen. I was like, a lot of those guys, their parents were buying those money and stuff like that. Yeah, and I mean, they weren't cheap. I mean, they're like, you're talking
And
about
like they will
dropping,
post
like,
on social media like all the boxes of the shoes. Like, dang.
Wait, now that you're saying that, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you could, I think it applies a little bit. You don't have social media, but I'm sure you've seen it or heard whatever. But when like even when I was in high school, there would be guys or like whatever just posting like money.
Oh yeah.
Like, bro, how? Teach me, because
And
I
we're
need that
talking
money.
about like $50, $100 bills.
Like, did you you being a guy hanging out with like obviously other people, whatever? Did you ever see things like that, and did that ever like kind of like affect you or like made you think of something?
Yeah, it definitely did. But I think it did help me that I faced those, like I faced through high school, having God as a respaldo, because when you see those things, and even to this day I still see a lot of guys at my age, and they have like nice cars, like real nice cars, they already bought a house and stuff like that. But I'm like, I followed God's plan to this moment, and God's plan doesn't always really instill that you're gonna be rich. It doesn't instill that you're gonna.
We're not saying be lazy yet.
Yeah,
No, of course not.
We're not saying that, but as long as you work hard, you work hard, you put God ahead, you know, he's gonna provide for what you need, you know, and what's best for you. He doesn't know, like, a lot of people, like even good Christians, if God knows, like, if he put a, you know, a big temptation that they couldn't handle, like if he gave them like a big job where they were earning like millions, and then if that's gonna push them away from following his word, he's
not gonna allow it.
Yeah,
he's gonna cut it right there.
Yeah, and then it's if that, because the Bible says he's never gonna tempt you more than you can handle.
It's also like, you know, what's the point of gaining the whole world and you lose your soul?
Yeah.
It's like if you pursue everything but then you lose your soul, was it really worth it?
Yeah.
So that, like, when you see those things and you think about it that way, when you see guys, you know, flashing money and stuff, you're like, you know, you have a different perspective. When you're a Christian, you have a different perspective of how you view them showing off the money. To you, it's like, you know, I don't really care.
Just give me $10.
Just as a little insight, I once saw my friend flashing his parents like rent money because they were paying the tenant, so it was like the rent, like cash rent money, and he was just like putting it on social media. And I was,
bro, that's not even yours.
I was like,
That's not even cute.
but then, you know, there are those people that it's like that. You only see one side. You don't know what's going on in reality.
But if you don't, I mean, if you don't have God, then, and you don't see it from that perspective, then it gets really, really hard because you're like, you see those things like, how am I going to reach that? You don't have that respaldo behind you, you know, that, you know, it's not God's plan, and, you know, or something like that, you know, it's, you're just like, I don't know, I'm not at that level, you know, and I guess your self-esteem, you know, I take it goes down.
That affects our spiritual life a lot. Like a lot, especially when you see, let's say, like us in the Christian bubble, when you see other Christians at a certain level that you're not in, it makes you also doubt yourself and be like, does God even listen to my prayers? Like, hello, like, you know, are you there? Like, I want this, I want that. But again, like you said, sometimes God doesn't allow us to get certain things because he knows that we're gonna probably fall back, or we're just gonna completely forget about him. So we're all going at different paces, and we all have different purposes, you know, and it's just about going through all these like different phases in order for us to be able to reach the potential that we're meant to. I'll let you talk because I feel like you're gonna lose your train of thought. She's like, she's like this. She's like, can she stop talking now?
I have an idea.
Go.
Something. No, one thing was that, like, one thing that I always think about, I saw it on Instagram like a while ago, but it really like stuck to me because it was like, don't compare your level 1 to someone's level 10. And I feel like I've always been like, I'm really about to put myself out there like that, but I feel like that's always been me, that I'm just like, dang, why can't, like, I know I can do it, but if I compare it to the other person, it's like you were saying right now, we all have different life paths. Like, they have different things going on, they have different you know, whatever, and I have a different life. Like, I can't reach what they've reached because I'm still working on it.
We have different abilities.
We have
skills.
different abilities. We have different, like, I'm talking more like financial wise, like stuff like that. And like that's what I'm saying. Like, just basically, like, the one thing that sucks to me is like to not compare my level 1 to someone's level 10 because they've had certain amount of years to get to that level 10. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There was something else, but I forgot.
She always forgets. No, it's very, it gets difficult. Yeah. It gets very difficult, especially in the world we live in right now. It gets very confusing. You doubt yourself. And again, like I said earlier, you're just creating, like, you're just affecting yourself. Like, you're just damaging your own self by allowing these things to really get to your head.
And then one thing that we were going to mention was this theory. Like, we're not going to go too much into it, but it's called Maslow's theory. Basically, it's just like a little pyramid.
I got it.
Oh, you printed it out?
Yeah,
he's ready on his first day.
I was thinking I was going to show that.
Show yours. my little bootleg one.
I didn't even draw it, but
yeah,
okay. So it's this. And colorful too. Okay. Oh my God, this is so helpful. I'm so glad you did this. Okay. So it's this theory, and it has like all these little like levels, right? Basically, what psychology says, what the world says, it's like you have to meet all of these levels in order to reach self-actualization. Basically, to reach happiness, to be content with your life and everything. So like if you met your physiological needs like breathing, food, sleep, all that stuff, safety. But if you really think about it, you can never be stable 100% in all of them. Like there's always gonna be something.
There's always something there.
Yeah. So wait, hold on. Oh, I didn't want to cover.
He's
your
like, I'm
face.
tired of holding
I know, I don't wanna cover your
it.
face. And then
Like I will edit it right here.
Put it on our little wall.
I know.
Point.
And then there is the fourth. The fourth one is self-esteem, and that's just basically obviously your confidence, your achievement, your respect for others, respect for yourself, and everything. And when we're there, like I said, in all these, you're never gonna meet all of them 100%. Like there's always gonna be something lacking. So even like when we're talking about the fourth level, the self-esteem, like I was saying earlier, we always want the approval of others. We seek the approval of society, and as Christians, that's just not really gonna happen.
I don't know if you remember MJ. Again, MJ and I, we went to the same undergrad program.
Certified by the waves.
We're social workers.
So I don't know if you remember, but the purple and the blue box, well, obviously the top one is self-actualization. But once you reach self-esteem, like supposedly that's like you reach that your midlife adulthood.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But honestly, I feel like even as an adult, you really won't reach it, because again, everyone is different. Everyone has different potentials and skills, and it's just, you can't expect to like, okay, like I'm right here at the pyramid and I'm like complete. No, like I remember when our professor was talking about that, and I was like, dang, like, so when I'm like an adult, like in my mid something, no.
And like and basically once you reach the top, once you reach the top, that means you have everything fulfilled. But that's the way that psychology sees it.
The world sees it.
And like that's just not realistic. Like you can never.
Yeah, there's no God written in here.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about how the world sees us. So I think it'd be good if we talk about how God sees us now. So,
I don't think, one thing I would just point out is that I don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think psychology does exist, and God left that, and God has given the potential for us to understand it. But like you said, it's not like,
it's important.
It's very important, but it's still not, as a Christian, we can't just base our lives on that.
Yeah.
You know, there's more to it than just that area.
The reason for that, it's not that we're just going to disregard our human nature, what we are as humans, because there have been studies and people who have put their time. But as Christians, our view, our path, you know, that thing we're trying to reach is not human, like human things. It's God. So we use these things to help us in our relationship with God, because there are skills, there are things that are fundamental in our human, like self, that yes, they're important, but they're not everything, just to like clarify.
Yeah.
There's
God
a key
is our-
idea in the Bible that's always, put God first. It doesn't say, forget everything and then but I mean, says put God first. So if you put God first and then you go back and, you see these theories, I mean, these theories, do have some sense, and, they've been.
Yeah.
But they can be dangerous.
But they can be dangerous, if you don't view it in the eyes of with God, like with God. Like if you don't see this, and okay, does this really make sense? Like if you compare the Bible to what the Bible's teaching me to what.
Can I see it?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, go ahead. To what that's teaching me, it's you draw a clear line between those. So definitely, I want to go into how God sees this.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you put God, I just visualize this. If you put God first, you'll see, because we learn in God's word, we learn that there's no one who can always be good or not have any sin. So if you put God first, you'll see that He fills in the spots we cannot, because we're not always good. We're not always going to be moral, creative.
Yeah.
We're not always going to have these foundations, because alone we can't reach that. But God, He fulfills those spots.
Those blank spaces.
We give Him when He fulfills this, when we can't. Because if we try to do this alone, you're gonna lose your mind.
God provides us with all of that,
Yeah.
like with all our basic needs, with what's the other one? Safety, love, friendships, family. So
like, let's say water, right? You're not financially stable. You don't have safety security. And you're worrying that you don't have food. But when you have God, you know that He provides for you, because He says even for the birds, even they don't worry. They don't go the day, what am I going to eat tomorrow? They know that they'll be provided, that the Father above provides for them the same way. There are things that God, fulfills for us.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to.
Now that you
Yeah.
said that, actually, this theory is there's a part that talks about like that us as human beings, we're motivated when we have one of these like empty. We're motivated to like
Keep going.
to keep going and going. But like now that you said that, it's just like God provides. Like of course we can't just sit there and be like, let me wait for my money to come.
It's gonna fall from the sky.
Yeah, like we can't do that, but we know that God is gonna provide. So I really like that you put it like that.
God's gonna provide you with a job to go work.
Yeah, I like
to get
that.
your money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say? Sorry.
Because we've been talking a lot about how the world sees us. So
Yeah.
we definitely, and we've gone a little while without putting up a Bible verse. So I definitely want to.
He has his whole life open.
Oh, by the way, the one I said is Ecclesiastes. How do you say
There's
that?
some that I can't say in English, to be honest, because
12,
I just learned Spanish.
7, where it says, not a single person on earth is always good and never sins. And it's talking about like sorrow is better than laughter, where sadness has its refining influence on us. You know, we always look at the bad things and we're like, oh man, it's so bad. Like, but when we're in Christ, even the bad things, they help us, they define us, they make us, you know, realize who God really is in our life. So that's why I mentioned that as well, because it's biblical.
Yeah.
And one that I really, really like is Salmos 139, 14 to 17. And it says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them. Oh, this sounds so beautiful. I love this so much. Because society tells us if you're 130, 40 plus pounds, you're overweight. You're fat. And you're not good enough if you're fat. You're not good enough if you don't have a nice body. You're not good enough if blah, blah. You have to, like, society has set these standards, but God is saying, like, bruh, I created you. Like, you are beautifully and wonderfully made.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like, we were all made, we all have different sizes. We all had different hair types. We're all completely different, but that's just the way that it's supposed to be. Yeah,
we
like
all put our heads together.
That's the way
We're
God
all
wanted
beautiful
us
in His
in
eyes.
our own way. Yeah, like we're made in His image.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm talking about weight was because I just remember something. There was a point, like I think it was probably like in Montgomery College actually, and I was always like, oh, I want to lose weight. And then Jesse, he was like. I never told him this, but I low-key got mad when he said that. He was, he's like, what do I do? So what I do?
We're gonna talk about this after.
Because he was like, if you want to lose weight, like put it in God's hands. And I was like, I just want to lose weight, like, and in my head I was like, what does God have to do with this? You know,
Take my fat away.
You wake up one morning after praying, doing ayuno, you're skinny.
No, but at the same time, like at the same time, now that I think back on that, I'm just like, wait, like God made me. This is the temple that He left for me on this earth. Like it's totally and 100% fine, and like it should be that way for me to pray about that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like. You don't have to do it to please the world, but you can do it just to be healthy because you need to be healthy, right?
So I said something good, right?
You did.
Apologize.
Jesse's knowledge.
At the moment when he said that, because he would say
what did
it.
I say? She's going to put me on blast right now.
Because he would say it every time that I would say, like, I'm going to the gym and, like, you know, it's not working, like, whatever. And then he was always like, pray about it. And every time he said that, I was like,
bruh.
Ooh. I would never say anything. I would be like, yeah. But in my head, I was like, no. Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to burst.
So it's just to say that, you know, whatever you look like, you are beautiful. We are all beautiful. And I'm going to shut up now so you guys can go ahead. But
No.
Or I don't
Go
know
ahead,
who's
go
gonna say something.
No, I
I'll
just
say
wanted to share,
something.
since we're like sharing so many beautiful Bible verses. One specifically that I know we all know, and it's one of my favorites, and I always remind myself with this one, is Joshua 1:9, where it says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Again, the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. I love that because it reminds me that if God will always be with me, whether it, going back to the whole school situation, like if I go now to school, he'll be with me. If I don't go to school, he'll be with me. I shouldn't be expecting to please others. I should always please God, and he will always be there for me to. And if you allow yourself to be guided by God, like the end game is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
So just wanted to share that.
I just wanted to point something out because it kind of brought me back to like our potential, and like sometimes we feel like like, dang, I'm not gonna be able to do that because I'm not smart enough. Because for me, I'm the type of person I feel like I need to read the thing 100 times compared to other people. They're in class and they're like, I can take the test right now. You know
Me
what I
and
mean?
MJ will stare at them like,
Yeah, and I was just gonna say if you wanted to say something about that because your major is hard. When it comes
Yeah.
down to potential, like how God helped you through that and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, God, like, He knows
He's
everything.
smart, so-
Like, our pastora one time said, she was like, I see a lot of kids, they're struggling with math and everything. She's like, why don't you pray? Pray to God. He's like, what? What is, like, MJ was telling, what is he gonna do? What is he gonna do? Well, God created all the math. God created all the science. He created everything. He created the world. I was like, if anything, he's your guy you're supposed to go to. And
You're like, how do you solve this derivative?
yeah.
You're like, what is this?
y
Yeah.
equals mx plus b.
And we don't all have the same I guess capacity to be able to understand those things. Like I know I struggled a lot with like English class, like as far as yeah she's laughing because she knows that I struggled with that. But as when it came to math science, like my major was construction management, so that's basically what I was studying, and that's what I really liked. But when it came to like English stuff, I was like, oh man,
This is not
you
for
know,
me.
it's not. And I remember my very first essay I wrote, and professor didn't even grade it. She just gave it back to me.
Oh,
I was like, oh man, I didn't have no grade on it.
She's like, it's not ready to read this.
I had not tried to. I tried not
She's
to
like, my
plagiarize.
eyes are blind.
Yeah, I tried not to plagiarize, but I'm pretty sure I think it was like 75% plagiarized.
Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't my intention, but I just didn't know how to paraphrase, and it was just yeah.
And how did that make you feel? Like you felt like you were like,
I felt like, oh,
dang.
man, I got 4 more years to go through. I was like, I'm not gonna. How
You
am I
had
gonna do it?
self-doubt in whether you will be able
and
to.
I didn't think I could do it. But like, so we look at that triangle, and we see all these missing places and missing spots, and you really gotta pray. Know that God's gonna help you. It doesn't mean you're gonna come out of college and be like a super master of like English and all these other subjects, but I mean He's gonna help you through it. And that's part of living as a Christian, knowing that God's gonna help you in the hard spot.
And sometimes we think about certain things and when they tell us like, oh, pray about it, and sometimes it's like the most silliest thing ever, like the smallest thing ever. But honestly, God wants that. Like He wants you to ask Him because He's the creator of everything. So don't ever doubt to ask God for that little push and that little help. Like even as silly as it can sound, just do it because it's important.
There's also like, this is where it can also get dangerous with like knowing all these good things about God, because this is what I used to struggle with. I'd be like, I saw this thing once where it was like, you get hurt, you put a bandage on top, but you're just telling, you're wonderfully made. I created you before time. You're all these beautiful things. You're my temple. Like He designed you enough to be living like a temple for the Holy Spirit, which is His presence, His Spirit here on earth. And but then you don't worry, you don't target the wound. So when you hear these things and you don't target exactly what's going on in your life, you're always going to be needing reaffirmation of these verses. You're always going to be needing to hear, I'm wonderfully made. I created you this way. You're of my image. You're always going to need constant reaffirmation when you're aiming just to fulfill the moment. Because sometimes we read scripture just to fulfill what's going on in our lives. Sometimes we read scripture just to be I'm not feeling good, or when I told you guys, I was like, I'm fat, I have no worth, like this makes me like ugly, no one's gonna ever love me. And I would read verses just to fulfill that moment, but I wouldn't see truly who we are as humans, truly what it is to trust God fully. And instead of trying to just like fulfill that thing we're feeling, we have to look at the whole thing. We have to look at what God says about us in our entirety. If we are just reading these things, we're gonna miss history. We're gonna miss, we're not the only ones who feel like this. David, Elijah, Jonah, all these people, if you read the things where they're like, God, kill me, I don't want to live anymore. When you read these things, you're like, man, these people were depressed. Man, there's something
Why
wrong
am
with
I
them.
whining?
And Elijah God sending an angel and being like, here's some water, here's some food. Be like, be quiet, just eat. If you like, you'll miss all those things because we're too worried about what does God say. I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling worried.
Yeah.
Like, we miss a lot.
We talked about that, like,
important.
self-medicating, like using the
There we
Bible.
go.
Yeah. And it was like, man, like there's two sides of the Bible. And that's exactly one of the things I want to touch up on self-esteem, that, the world teaches, hey, you can do it, you're good, but there's two sides of the Bible. When you realize, like, in this, that we are sinners, we're not perfect. And that's exactly why we need God. And that's like that's exactly the line between the way the world sees us and the way God sees us, is that when God sees us, and he's like, you need me. You can't do anything without me. You need you need me in every single day of your life. That's why sometimes we go through some of the hardships that we go through. So it's just reminders that we need God in every single day of our lives. And then Elsie was going over those topics and Bible stories of characters from the Bibles that have experienced that. But if we go and just read those Bible verses, oh, you're wonderfully made, you won't go back and see what the hardships are like, and you won't learn from what those people went through and how they reacted. Some of them reacted in a well manner. Some of them didn't. Yeah, like if we go back and read Job and imagine the things that he went through, and he's like, how do you, and one of the last, one ending Bible verses, he's also like, how do you only know how to take in the good things? You don't know, no sabes recibir lo malo. Yeah, like the hardships, basically. And
can I read?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know how you say that in English. Ecclesiastes 12. Go read it so you find out which verse it is. There's a verse that says, the words of the wise are like cattle prods, painful but helpful. Sometimes the word of God is not always going to be this beautiful thing that makes you feel like you're in the sun, like so warm and cozy. Sometimes cattle prods, cattle, sometimes they have like little things going through them, so they're still. Sometimes it's gonna hurt, but it's gonna show you a truth. Like, it's gonna show you a truth. Like these people, like King David or King Solomon, who had all these things. But there's also verses where they express their anguish, where they express really deep things that it's not like strange to us. We've all been in a place where we're just like, I'm tired. Elijah was tired. Jeremiah was tired. Jeremiah, he would tell people because he loved them and he wanted to tell the people, you're gonna die. God's telling you this, and them, you're crazy. You're gonna like stop and suffering so much. That has a toll on you. I know. I felt identified with that, not because of the reasons he was doing God's work. I was tired. Me complaining to God, I'm so tired of this world. But when you realize that and God tells you the heart is deceitful above all things, Jeremiah 17, and it's desperately sick, and you read it again in Proverbs, and you read it again in Matthew, just in case you're like, the Old Testament is nullified. You read it again in Matthew 17. You realize that your heart is going to lie to you. You don't need to believe. There's this doctor, his name's Dr. Amen. You don't need to believe everything you think.
Yeah.
If you're like, I'm fat and ugly, talk to yourself. Your heart is deceitful and it's so used to all these, getting targeted by all these things. Be like, is that true? Is that what God said? But when you feel like that, what do you do? So this is when like stuff like psychology can help. But it's not just that. It's also God being where you're targeting Him. So I just wanted to mention that.
I also wanted to add on to what you were saying right now. Is like you can see how like that can mess with you like mentally, because all that self-doubt, all the things that and then I like what you said. It was everything that you think you shouldn't believe, something like that. Yeah, because your heart and your mind play with you. They play with you, and it's just something to keep in mind that if you're not careful of where your mind, because our minds are working 24/7, like they're bombarding you every second with like thoughts that shouldn't be there, all that self-doubt and all that stuff. But it's just good to think about like what Andrea was saying, and then also just know that if you let those get to you, they can lead to you feeling depressed. They can lead to you feeling like you're worthless, but that's not what God says. That's not what you are. You're very, very worthy. Yeah.
But you see the difference that we have in the way we think about it, in the way we didn't just get here the anoche. I mean, when we were in high school, there was no way we were, even though we were here at church, but we didn't fully understand the Bible. We weren't as close as we were with God as we should have been. So we could not handle the things and the issues that we went through as well as we can now, because not saying we're perfect, that we handle everything, but saying that, we do a lot better job, but it's not from our own strength, but because of God. That's why I kind of want to go ending, but I do have one thing that I didn't tell you guys I was gonna do, but what do you guys see here?
Ooh, I'm hungry.
That looks good. We are hungry, so
I see food.
I see some nachos,
Some eggs,
some huevos,
some
jalapenos.
some nachos.
Some nachos. Well, you see, these are chilaquiles.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Nachos are so good.
These are
Nachos.
yeah,
It's like-
these are
She's
chilaquiles.
like nachos.
Yeah, but you guys didn't know that. You guys didn't know
No.
that. Well,
I thought about nachos in my head too.
Like
Wait.
whitewashing my place.
so the way you view things is basically based on your own knowledge. It's based on the what do you know? You guys didn't know these were chilaquiles.
I was like,
so-
why are there eggs on the nachos?
yeah. So see, you guys are gonna call it nachos and stuff. But
Just as a
yeah, the thing is, I mean, since it's based on our own knowledge and stuff, if you don't know God, you'll see this problem, but you won't know the solution. Like you'll see like self-esteem, and you'll see like all these issues that you're going through, and you won't know the solution. You won't know that God is there, and He's the answer to all your problems, and that's why it's so important, especially for the podcast listeners and for us, to share the word of God, because the world is going to look towards psychology. It's going to look towards medication. It's going to look towards psychiatrists. It's going to look towards everything. But they're never going to find the solution. They're always going to be going around in the same problem. But we've lived it. We've seen it. We're living it, that, God is the solution to all our problems. He's the one that allows us to make it through our day. When our problems come, we run to God. He's there for everything, and He wants to be there. And to all the podcast listeners, He's there for you guys. When you guys are going through these issues, whether you're older than us, whether you're younger than us, doesn't matter. The solution's still the same.
Yep.
The person you're supposed to go to is still the same, and that's God. And I don't know if you guys had any other remarks, but that's how I was thinking about ending this
The
podcast.
one thing was about the healthy self-esteem. Like there is the high self-esteem, low self-esteem, but I think it's good and safe to say that you can only have a healthy self-esteem if you're with God. So there is that, like, obviously it's not good to have high self-esteem because then you're annoying. If you have low self-esteem, then
It's not good either.
that's not good for you. But if you just have to make sure you reach that level of healthy self-esteem, and that's only by holding on to God's hands and letting Him just guide your way, let Him comfort you and everything.
And I don't know what the right level of self-esteem is. Like, I don't know, and personally, I don't really care.
Just living life.
Yeah, but it's because you're with God, and you're not supposed to like be checking. Oh, what's my self-esteem level? Yeah, yeah, it's low today. I gotta raise it up. It's not like
I need a self-medicate.
yeah, it's not
What
like
did I say? I'm wonderfully
yeah. Once you have a relationship, God, you're there.
I just think about the scale, like a scale and like an image of a scale in my head, and I'm just like, okay, bad self-esteem, good self-esteem. We're all at different. Yeah. Well, obviously like in the middle, but like a different according to where God wants to have us. So we're all on different. We all have different stories. We all have different capacities. Yeah, we're all working on it together. Yeah. But it's all about what God wants in our lives individually. Yeah. So
maybe this wasn't like what people expect, like love yourself well. Yeah. We just want you to see yourself as God sees you in the core of it.
Love God and He will show you how to love yourself.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Any other quotes?
No, I think we're good.
We're good.
Dang, girl, you didn't even drink your seaweed drink.
I drank mine because look,
I drank all of mine.
I'm lactose.
I was drinking.
Girl, that's why I was listening. All I heard was
I was drinking it because I was getting thirsty, but every time I drank it, I was like,
own sound effects. I could hear it. There were times that my stomach started grumbling. Oh my God. I was like, let's push this.
Every time I drank it, I was always like, just make it down there.
Well, once again, thank you, team and listeners.
He's like, I'm trying to leave.
I thought we said bye.
Okay.
We're done. I thought we were just talking to ourselves. No.
Everyone's listening.
All right, guys. Thank you for
bye,
watching.
guys.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. We hope you enjoy the conversation. Stay tuned for the next topic coming out soon. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media for more updates. Thank you once again for listening to Resplandece Podcast.